Chapter 2.
I'm Eric Cargill.
And I'm Rachel Elnar, and this is Cheers and Tears.
Design Leadership Tales Retold.
Eric, we know both of today's guests through AIGA, where both have spent years shaping chapters, mentoring designers, and pushing for a more inclusive, community-driven design culture. Owen works at the intersection of design and business, focusing on creating meaningful products and services. And Carlos is a creative director and information architect whose work spans branding, typography, and he serves as the president emeritus of AIGA Detroit. And together they bring decades of design leadership, community building, and a shared belief that design is a vehicle for connection and impact. So pleased to have them both here with us today. Please welcome Oen Hammonds and Carlos Estrada.
Welcome, you two.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Can you guys give us your OG, where you come from in terms of AIGA? Let's hear your AIGA backstories.
Wow, like way back machine here. So I started in the student groups at my university back in Kentucky, and in Cincinnati, and then but before that, I was actually a part of a group called the Louisville Graphic Design Association, which became AIGA Louisville back then as well too. But then joined the local Cincinnati chapter, became a education director there, moved from that position to BP, where I served with Andrea McCorkle, my dear friend, awesome, amazing leader. And then moved from Cincinnati to Austin, Texas, where I'm at now. The team here wanted me to join immediately. I was like, no, I need a break. Like, I just got here, like just getting the lay of the land. But I would say like the first thing that I did do was go to an AIGA event here in Austin as a way of like getting to meet the community here. Eventually I did join the chapter leadership board as the education director again. Seeing a trend here. Education director, came back, became a VP, had to step in to become an interim president for a year and a half, because the previous president had to step down for personal reasons, and then officially got voted in as president for 2.5, 3-year term there, for the Austin chapter, and then left, became a board advisor, still a board advisor, but in between there, the last official position I've held with AIGA as a national organization was for the national board, where I was a director, community relations then as well too there.
It's an AIGA lifer. You've been in all of it.
It's a little bit, yeah.
Yeah.
All right. Well, I'm still coming to terms of being called an OG, but I can embrace it.
Yes.
Own it, Carlos.
I'm gonna own it. When I see a youngin, when I see this little new design, like come here. With love, of course, with love. You know? So thank you for having me, all of you. I think one of the strengths of AIJ is that we've all crossed paths, like at a retreat, since that's what we're talking about. You know, throughout the years, throughout the decade, which I think is amazing how it connects people. For AIGA, I started as Owen in college. I've never heard of AIGA, which is funny because when I went to college, I never heard of NPR either. I'm like, what's this you say? I'm like, I don't know what you all are on, but I don't know what you're listening to. So anyway, I started in AIGA in 2003 with the Chicago chapter. Around 2013, 12. The Grand Rapids, West Michigan chapter was being formed. So I was volunteering for all these events. And because if you volunteer, you get in for free, at least at most of them. Hint to whoever's listening, you know, there's benefits in participation. So then a spot opened up, and I was curious at one of the annual meetings, and it was for a D&I director. And at that time, I was working in publishing, and design just seems so big. I'm like, I can't be on the board. I've never been on a board. I don't know what this is all about. But when I heard D&I, something I'm famous for before Beyonce is I'm like, oh, I can do that because I woke up like this. Like my whole life, I have been, my nephew calls it brownish. So, anyhow, in 2000, what did I say? 14, joined the board. I was accepted. I became the first D&I director for AIGA West Michigan. Served beyond my term till around 2017, and then took a 3-month hiatus for the summer. And Detroit called, and it was Kimmy Parker, wherever you're at. What up, girl? She asked if I would sit on the Detroit board because not only in 2014 I was on the board for AIJ West Michigan, but in 2015 I joined the D&I task force at a national level. So 2017 I joined the Detroit board, and I've been there since. I started as vice president of programming, and then now I'm president emeritus. So 2 years ago, or a year and a half ago, I was president for about, I think, 3 years. The bylaws give you a term, but to keep the community thriving, sometimes you're always going past the term limit.
Yeah.
And people think you're crazy, but when you invest in people, even people you don't know, I think it comes back to you in a good way. And then the same thing with D&I, the task force, in its third iteration of like 10 years for ARJ being in existence. Started in 2014 and ended this year in July of 2025. The last 3 years, I became chair, and I was past my term, and it was time to say goodbye. And now it's time for the new blood to raise it up again. But I made myself available to advise and whatnot. So, and I think we'll get to it later, but all of what I mentioned did come from retreats. There are a lot of movements within ARJ that were birthed at retreats. I hope I answered the question.
You let the new blood in. That means you are OG.
Yes.
All right. So you talked about retreats. Let's talk about retreats.
Woo.
How many retreats did you attend personally that you recall? And how many did you attend together?
I know I've attended 6 of retreats. Together, maybe 4. Like I'm trying to like separate the national conference and the actual leadership retreats, because like this the antics kind of like blend
Yeah.
together between national conference and leadership retreats. And sometimes, like, if I remember right, like I think there was a point in time where like the leadership retreats overlapped or were like back to back with the national conference then as well
Oh,
too.
really? I didn't realize that.
I think I can't recall, but I think sometimes they did it just to take advantage of like all these people are going to be here. Why do them separately? Logistically, it just kind of like makes sense.
I know it happened with Ion Design as well. It was like one day before the conference.
Yes,
I think it was 2017 in Minneapolis.
Minneapolis.
And I only know that because I have like 50 Post-its in front of me.
Yeah, I mean, so let's extend the time that we punish our livers collectively.
No comment, because
No comment.
I'm a juice.
Retreats. Some of those things that happen at retreats stay at retreats.
Oh, I thought that was going to be my line, Owen. We're not that deep in the conversation yet. Oh.
Well, a lot of our podcast episodes and interviews have been like, I don't remember. I crapped out.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's funny.
Yeah, I don't remember. I blacked out, or
I plead the
they
fifth.
all blend together. I don't remember which city this was in.
And let me help you real quick,
Yeah.
because people will be watching this as it goes viral and assume I don't drink, but I completely relate. As a non-drinker, the retreat will put you through and you will not remember.
Yes.
Because just a quick drop, like there's an after party, and then an after party. And if you're up for that, there's a 6 a.m. club,
Right.
Right.
Yes.
along with all the pyramids.
Right.
I got to that one first. I got to that one first.
Got to that one, yes, yes. But like I think for everyone to remember is for those who've never been to a retreat, mostly everyone that goes to a retreat is doing some type of programming. Like so like you're mostly our attendees, but like the whole point of the retreat is about sharing. So like you're putting together something and like the days start at like 7:30, 8 a.m. in the morning and you go all day. It's like, and then start it all over again the next day then as well too. So like this is like there's a lot of like fun with retreats, but there's a lot of like sharing and prepping and getting ready and putting putting that happy face on in the morning. It's like I'm here, yes, let's go. This is that's like so it's not like it's yes, there's a lot of fun at retreats. There's a lot of memories being created at retreats, but there's a lot of programming and planning and just a wealth of information that you have to turn on for to like take that back to your chapter, take it back to your community, and just really, like move your chapter to the next level or like continue its growth then as well too. And that all comes from the retreat.
Yeah.
Oh, and does that content still resonate with you?
Oh, I mean, yeah, I mean, I will say like the unprogrammed things still resonate with me greatly today, which is networking and communicating and just meeting people. And I think that's one of the things that can be brought back, not because like it's nationals or any of the individual chapters fault, but like it's just we've as people, like the pandemic just did a thing on us. It just did something to us. Like we lost all types of like social skills. And like it's like just like leave it at that. It's like all kinds of social skills we've lost. Even for myself as well too. And I think that when you're going to a retreat, you cannot hide. Like you have to be present. And yes, there's a level of like if you're an introvert, like you find your tribe and like you hang with them, and then like eventually by the end of the retreat, like you've gone from like introvert to like an extrovert with your level of like comfort zone then as well too. So and that's like a unwritten thing that happens naturally at the retreat then. But yeah, program wise, there are definitely a lot of things around running a chapter. That's a business skill. I mean, like that's not just a nonprofit skill set. Like that is like if you're going off, if you're running your own freelance or a contractor, you better be organized. And when you're a chapter leader, you have to be organized. So like things like that, like finding people who can like be a part of your team and bringing them in and like onboarding them and doing those things. That doesn't stop at the retreat. That's something that I use when I'm forming and storming my teams and my day-to-day work then as well too. So there's a lot of just kind of like transitional things between, like the retreat and the programming that it does and like how to make you a better chapter leader that you just take into your day-to-day work and possibly even like your personal life as well too.
I'm gonna step in and amplify what Owen said.
Please do.
Because
Please
he dropped
do.
some gems. Because of all the friends I made through DEC, AIGA's design educators community, which I never knew existed until like 2 retreats in. I met all these people. I'm like, hey, so what chapter are you part of? They're like, DEC. I'm like, DC? Hey, DEC. I'm like, You guys have a speech problem? Let me help you. Anyhow, I've because of that, I know a ton of educators in the Detroit area and now across the nation, and soft skills is becoming a lost art, which I never thought I'd say in my life. And networking, like Owen, I think sometimes I'm rusty. I'm the extrovert. I don't know if you can tell, but anyhow, there are times I'll just walk in and I'm like, nope, not today. I'm not. I've done this, been there, done that. I'm gonna meet one person and that's it. Just dropping those walls and their attitude to network and talk to people. There are a lot of students that are afraid of looking people in the eye or being in class,
Yes.
and I'm like, I'm a little shocked. So I'm like, thankfully I have a skill set. I'm like, this is what we can share with students because in real life matters. And to go on with what Owen was saying at the retreats, by the way, I'm going to just sneak this in because I don't know how the conversation is going to go. The retreats to me, I don't think have been a pillar of AIJ. I think they've been a cornerstone. Like literally,
Yeah.
you can say if it's a pyramid, 3 cornerstones or 4, or a building 4 or 6, or however you're going to architect and, design it. It's literally a cornerstone because not only do we connect, make long-time friendships, like literally all of us are in different states, and I would call you friend or a business acquaintance. You know what I mean? Like I've called Owen in the past just for advice, and he's freely given it, and helped me with ideas and even with things we may not have agreed on. But I trust him. I know that he's just going to be a straight shooter, and I respect his career and what he's done. So that's like one benefit of the retreat. I'm trying to think of where I was going is you talk to other chapter leaders, and it's not just programming. You learn how to, ideas for events, and then also the things that you don't expect, like all the bylaws, all the administration stuff, the things that aren't the fun stuff but are necessary. And also, like one thing, Detroit and Chicago had a conversation one time, and I was blown away of the transparency where they literally showed us the spreadsheet of one of their events, like down to the detail, the time frame of how long it took. And what I'm really trying to get at is they showed us every financial line on the ledger. And so we saw how much it cost, we saw how much people gave, we saw how much they made. And I'm like, that's the kind of information that brings value so that there can be success across states. And so we can collaborate and share speakers or know how to do it better for ourselves. But yeah, so let me look for my Post-it. Cornerstone. No, because there was notes around it. Because
Go ahead, keep going.
it's just the retreats were so valuable, and you're I don't want to say forced, but it's the opportunity to network and practice your soft skills. The other thing is throughout the decade, I think I've been to about 6 retreats as well with Owen. I say 7 because I count the one in DC, a retreat that Benny Johnson put on. That was one of the ones where they kind of hybrid. I must say it was a hybrid of a conference and a retreat because it was just after the pandemic and we had to get something done. And you meet people, you learn things to better your chapter and yourself in your own career. Because I'll tell you what, when I called Owen and some other people, it wasn't for a chapter business. It was for personal business. Like, no one's ever taught me this, or they didn't talk about this in school. So I'm handing it over to you 3 so I can find my cornerstone corset. I was in a hurry. I had to rush here to this awesome co-working space in Grand Rapids, Michigan. Now that's where I am right now.
Thank you.
And
Oh, Grand Rapids.
yes,
Nice.
sir. I call myself a Midwest designer because if I'm not in Chicago or Detroit, I'm in Grand Rapids.
Yeah. See, I'm south. I'm down I-35 south, and like so Southern designer.
Hey, I got you. So like, I so the, okay. So I think geographically, like what Owen's saying, I think that's the smart way to do business because right now I've just been freelancing. Or maybe the regular way. But where I'm from, like in Michigan, there's so many little towns. Once you go out at 15 minutes, I think you're crazy or an anomaly. So for what I do, some people are like, what? What? Why are you doing that? Anyhow,
Let me ask you, you talked about the value of sharing during the retreats and what you've learned from other chapters has helped your chapter as well. Is there anything that you've learned from the retreats that has benefited your career?
I mean, I think one of the big things for me with the chapters is just how powerful the connections are when no matter where you go. So, for instance, when I moved from, and I alluded to this earlier, when I moved from Cincinnati, Ohio to Austin, Texas, the first thing that I did was first find AIJ Austin and then find an event. And obviously, like one of the big things they were doing was like happy hours then as well too.
Yeah.
And so I walk in and I felt like they knew me better than I knew them. And that was because like my president, Andrea, actually contacted them and says like, hey, like Owen's coming, get him on the board. And I was like, and when I started walking, it's like, oh, I'm on from Cincinnati. I'm moving here. It's like, oh, we heard about you. Want to join the board? I was like, holy cow! It's like I'm just trying to find a job. And like, to your question, Rachel, like, there's like, oh, you should talk to this person here. Like, oh, like GSD&M's the place to go. Like, it's where everyone wants to work at. Oh, there's Latin Works over there. And so like they gave me a wealth of local information of like where and who I should talk to start to continue my career in Austin, Texas then as well too. And I will always remember that because like that's like that's the power of like networking. That's the power of like community. Even when you are not from that community, like if there's an extension of it somewhere else, I knew that I could like go to the AIJ Austin meetups and start there, but like it was taken to a whole nother level just by like like who the people are. Found my like my next extended tribe in the Texas area then as well too, and that was like one of the pinnacle pieces of like me continuing my design careers like that, moving from Cincinnati to Austin and like just having AIGA Austin chapter just be there for me, without like me having to like severely beat the bush to like get started here as well too.
Yeah, that makes sense.
I was thinking about how it being on the board or in leadership pushes you to oh gosh, I'm trying to be fancy with my words, y'all. Let's talk about money, all right? That's what I'm trying to say. If you move to work within the community to find partnerships. So ironically, or just before I got on the board with AIJ West Michigan, I also secured a job with Herman Miller. And eventually I started contracting for Herman Miller, which helped start my agency, which I shut down during the pandemic. But anyhow, what that did for me was I was hired for one department. And what's amazing is I was working with the engineers and research team primarily. And like literally geniuses. I'm like, how am I working around so many smart people? One of the engineers was from NASA. And we would make jokes of how he used to build rockets and now he builds butt cups. All right. It's what we said behind the scenes. You heard it here. So anyhow, but what was great is because I love talking to people and I was in the building quite often, they wanted me in there. So I'm like, great, I'm not going to complain about that. When I became a vendor, then they still wanted me close to them. Every time I went to go get coffee or water or I needed to walk around, I just believe in after 2 hours of sitting, you need to go walk or move or, do something. I would talk to people. So I talked to people throughout the whole building. Like, that's just who I am. And so I was able to connect with the brand team because I'm like, this is my tribe. Like, they understand what I'm talking about. These engineers are too analytical. They don't get it. Some of them do, though. I will say, I met some engineers who are so creative. I'm like, are you sure you should be doing this? And then I saw their paycheck. I'm like, yeah, you should be doing this. But what I'm really trying to get at is I was able to meet other people and in so many different departments and buildings within the ecosystem of Herman Miller that and even VPs and executives that's how I raise money to do things for AIJ West Michigan. Some people like, this was crazy. I don't know if it's like this anymore, but back in the day, go back 10 years, they're like, oh, well, we've got 5,000 petty cash. You want it? I'm like, sure. And we use that to do like 3 events and to even bring some of their people in. I'm like, look, you help make this happen. I want you to give the intro. I want you to speak. To keep it on retreats, they were a big part of the Grand Rapids retreat in 2015. They went into the hotel, they went into their archives and pulled, like, I don't know, they took over a foyer and just filled it with Herman Miller furniture. Just for that size.
That was awesome.
So, I mean, like, just making those connections and collaborations for what we were doing for just, the local nonprofit chapter, amazing. And to keep it on Grand Rapids, 2015 retreat, not only was Herman Miller a part of it, but so was Steve Frickholm, who's been a medalist and a 2-time fellow for Detroit and West Michigan. This was before AIJ, but especially with AIJ, because he had such an endearment for anyone doing that. He was a mentor already. I've met him before, but then he became a person really involved in my life and introduced me to things like, you're grown, you're past your 30s. I know everything. He's like, come hang out with me Friday. I'm like, yes, sir. And I thought he was going to show me these design magazines. I'm like, I got an extra ticket. We're going to the ballet. What? And just showing me, culture within the city and other things. And I'll tell you what, because of him, I love the ballet. People that dance are athletes. Like, I mean, like, they make everything look so easy. Everything. And it's just beautiful. But what I'm trying to say about the retreats is you get to connect with the leaders inside and outside of design and those that will give to community events. And before I forget, I want to give a shout out and flowers to Kate Hunt, who is now Kate Hunt Robertson, because if it wasn't for her, she led the process like the year before to get the retreat in Grand Rapids. There were other leaders involved in the board, but I know that she was the spearhead. And her term was up right before the retreat happened. So she never got to experience what she created. And I'm like, that was phenomenal. Like, that's one thing that blew my mind. So I just want, if you guys ever look up Kate Hunt Robinson on LinkedIn, that woman is a powerhouse. And what we enjoyed in 2015, she spearheaded it. It takes the whole board, a ton of volunteers to get anything done, but she was the one that rocked that boat. So I want to thank her for that.
Yes. City guide. Yes.
Let's do a pyramid, quick.
I wanted to build on what you just said. You have to be what I call when I work in corporate, the silo buster. Like you just cannot stay within your bubble. Like that's one of the things I learned from being a chapter leader and also the retreats as well too. Is like if you know that someone has information to help you progress forward, you need to go get it. It's
Yes.
like you've got to like go ask the questions. Like you got like take that. Like I'm an introvert, but like if I need something to get done or if my team needs something, I'm going to get the answer. And if there's something in their way, I'll be that roadblock so that they don't get distracted by like things happening around them that they don't need to be dealing with in as well too. But that is definitely one of the things that from the leadership retreat and being a chapter leader that you have to do. Is like you have to break down silos. You have to like to your point around like fundraising, like you have to like be that person is like go out and ask for funding, ask for money. Like this is a nonprofit. There's you don't have a many chapters have like a good account, financial account. Many chapters don't. It's like and so you have to be like that person to go out and like be like, all right, I'm gonna put on my best outfit and like go ask for some money then. Like and that takes courage, resourcefulness, and the willingness to like be that silo buster and go ask this adjacent association or this adjacent business that benefits from design to like, hey, like this is what we can do for your designers at your company. Like we're asking for this amount of money. Will you be willing to give? That takes tenacity and being that silo buster to like to go out and do that then as well too.
I love what he's saying because it takes everything you said on makes me think of confidence. It helps you build your confidence and even break. How do you? I'm thinking about. I know when I started asking for money, I was a bit naive, but it challenged me, and then you get out of that. You're going to be naive until you start doing it, until you practice it. So what I like is being on boards and in leadership or breaking silos. We're making it sound easy. There's a challenge to it. You got your lovers and your haters in the corporate world and on your board. Okay. and like I was given a challenge because I knew where I was working. It said, well, we need this from you next week. Thankfully, with my confidence and being so naive, I'm like, okay, because I'm like, well, if this is what they're asking, this is what happens all the time. It doesn't, but I did it. I came back the next week. I'm like, okay, what's next? They're like, what do you mean? I'm like, well, you said to get this money. Here it is. Let's go. Let's do this. Owen, we got to do this more often.
Yeah.
I was going to say, preach, brother. Let's tag team somewhere. Yeah, but it builds your confidence and it just shows you how to get things done. And it's always different. It just doesn't stay the same. And like even now, it's challenging. Like after the pandemic and with other things going on in our country, people are taking money back. And it's happened in the last 2-3 years. I've been shocked. Through all the years of being in AIGA, people are literally saying, giving and then saying, no, we're taking it back. I'm like, interesting. Yeah. But it's new times, a new challenge, but that doesn't mean you can't overcome and you can't get through it.
When you're asking for money, Carlos, I have to say, like, you're not asking money for yourself. I think a lot for me, the confidence comes from being part of something greater, right? We're not only asking money for donation, but we're also giving them a community. We're giving them a platform. More than a transaction, it's more of an engagement. So I always felt very comfortable saying, I'm with AIJ. AIJ Los Angeles, like right away, they're like, oh, okay. Because that was like the foot in the door. It's not like, hi, I'm Rachel. I'm asking for money. It's like, I'm with AIJ Los Angeles. And that gave me the confidence to make that ask.
I want to
Yeah.
say you're giving them an invitation. And what I mean by that is because you said community, I'm just on this kick right now because of our last client, something that they had to do. It was political. Their opponent was saying, I build community. I'm like, no, community builds itself. And we are building something. I'm going to invite you to be a part of what we are doing. It's not like join my network or my subscription list. It's like, no, be a part of what I'm already doing with these people. Okay, I'm done. That's my job.
I love it.
That's what you get from an OG. Eric and Rachel, I'm always going to remember you for that. They said I was an OG. They're the authority, so it is what it
OG.
is.
And you guys are dropping some gems. 'Cause I wish I had known you back then and talked to you back then, because I was partnership director for Seattle. And oh man, it was a learning experience. I made possibly every mistake you could possibly make. Learned as I went, and Rachel, you put it succinctly. It was much easier standing behind the organization, or maybe standing in front of the organization for the organization, than it was to ask for money for myself. And so that community piece really was uplifting.
Well, Eric, you know us now, so we can all stay in touch.
We could all stay in
Yeah.
touch. I love it. I love
Yeah,
it.
and Eric is starting back helping AIGA Seattle get on its feet. Like, it closed for a while. They finally, and Terry Marks helped stand that up. Wendy and Gage and Eric. Yeah.
Yeah, and we've had 4 pretty successful events in the last 6 months. It's been spectacular being a part of it again, and much like you said, Carlos, it is interesting reaching out to old contacts regarding sponsorship, partnership. They're a lot more reluctant now. And for whatever reason, community is divided. There's a lot of other communities that maybe they're pledging toward.
I would say there's also a re-education
Yeah.
of the
Oh,
value of design that we have to present to community leaders, business leaders.
yes.
And I've literally witnessed that, like in my time at IBM, where when we started design, we had to fight to literally have like really strong leaders and position them in different parts of the company to like help them understand like this is what design does. This is the value you bring, and you can expand that to like a community, because like IBM is like global corporation. So like this conversation is not just happening in Austin. It's not just happening in New York. It's happening in Italy, Germany, like name a country where IBM is. It's like we're literally having that exact same conversation over and over and over again. And we got to that peak where people are like, I need designers on my team. I will fund them. and then it kind of like died off, or like sunset, or like transitions or changes happen, and like it kind of like went away then. And so that value understanding went away. That want of like having designers on the team went away for one reason or another then as well too. And I think now we're back to almost square one, where we're having to like have that discussion with business leaders of like whether you're going for money or like you're trying to encourage. Like as president here, like one of the things I used to do was actually go to companies to like talk about what design teams do and what you're probably not tapping into to your designers as well too, to like bring value to your company, X company, Y company then as well too. Particularly for in-house departments where design kind of like sits underneath marketing and gets kind of like buried, and like, hey, like you're not really using your designers at their maximum value. This is what, I'm not trying to like overwork designers, but like I'm trying to like, this is how you can like think about your designers when you're thinking about your next project then as well too. And so like, long story short, is like that conversation almost needs to be brought back into, like when we're asking for, like funding for a community event, or like funding to like help operationalize the chapters themselves. you just can't like talk about like, well, we need this money to do X. Like it was like, let me educate you on like what we bring and how we can help your designers, like, or educate you as a non-designer in how to have better relationships with your designers who are maybe your contractors or freelancers then. So like it's almost like a give and take. I'm not just asking for money, but like I'm also going to provide a service to you to like help you educate, consult, or something like that. Then like not on like a work-based level, but like I'm going to like consult to you of like where design brings value, and here are tons of examples out there that like help you better have like better design teams within your company, whether they sit in marketing or they sit alone, or like if you're an agency that just has designers and like you're just running them through like the typical cycle of work, then like you're probably not really tapping into them to their fullest value then as well too. And I think so that it's like kind of like an exchange of like, yes, we're asking for money, but I'm also going to like help you
Right.
better understand the power of design. Then.
Owen, right on the screen, you're right here. Where am I for you?
Right here.
Boom, tag team. Ah, now I'm gonna get you. Okay, what he said. People have died. People have retired. Leaving since I've been done with Herman Miller. There's a new CEO. I want to say 90% because of the pandemic of people I work with aren't there anymore. Like things change, things turn over, people turn out. So I love what he said. You just gotta, start fresh, go over it again, re-educate. Ooh, that reminds me of Lauren Hill. Re-educate, not miseducate. I'm sorry. When you got a rhythm in you, just let it go. Wow. I didn't think I'd go there. Anyhow, I want to make sure I say two things. With what he was saying and what we're talking about raising money, the other thing that came from retreats is you learned how your colleagues or who your colleagues were across the state. You got to see how design trends were going in different regions of the country. And even with other designers who had international accounts, like you saw how things connected, what appealed to people, or how you message differently and translate things, or how things don't translate. That's something that I learned from a retreat. And also, when you're secure with yourself, you don't say, oh, my design is bad. You see just how things are different in regions. So you're seeing trends. That's one thing I saw. And with that, you see how your friends present, which makes you a better presenter. Because one thing that the retreats afforded me was to speak on a national level and a regional level. Like, I had the opportunity more than once to speak on the platform, side stages and main stage through the retreats. And that was something I never expected. I was just on the local board to get things done. Next thing you know, I'm talking to people, when we were like 70 chapters strong. I'm like, what? Like, all right, you're going to get the full effect. Whether it's good or bad, this is where I'm at. So this is what you get. And so with that, I want to make sure that I said, because I did say that retreats were the cornerstone that gave the association some stability. That is where you saw the value of membership in the people. And it was like an incentive. It was that 3 or 4 day weekend literally gave you the fuel and energy and the connections to go all year long.
100%.
And to just plow through whatever you had to plow through in your region.
Yes.
And then you had people to talk to, like, oh my gosh, this was great. Oh my gosh, this wasn't great. And from that, my first retreat was in Denver. And that is where the D&I task force was birthed. I was trying to think, we had a round table. There was like a motivational speaker in the auditorium. And honestly, I'm like, I think I've heard of it before. I wasn't trying to be disrespectful, but I just wasn't feeling it. This is still going to sound old because all the terms have changed like twice over, but it wasn't vibing with me. Anyway, there was a group of us sitting down. We made our own little, with all the couches in the lounge or whatever, a circle. It was Aiden O'Connor, someone who used to be on staff who was amazing. It was Antoinette Carroll, Charlene King, I think Diane Holton, and then there was like 5 or 6 other people. They were near me, so that's why I remember them. We were just talking because at that retreat, AIGA leadership was predominantly white and male. And we were sticking out like sore thumbs in Denver. I'm like, I ain't having this. Like, I love being a part of this. This is going really good. But this America and this industry is more than what we're seeing here. If we're the leaders and the professional association, this is the professional association needs to look different. And I will say now we do look different. The diversity task force was birthed from that year. We were going to do our own thing or our own chapter. And Aiden said, no, you know what? We can do this within AIGA. So we did. In the pandemic, 2019 retreat in Atlanta, that's where Unidos was birthed.
Yeah.
I was part of the leadership, but I stayed behind the scenes on purpose. And the task force, which was DEI by then, we were major supporters of them, but stayed behind the scenes. Because with everything going on in 2020, we're like, you know what? We just want to give our strength to supporting what's working right now. And that's what we did. Unidos had me on early to just advise, and I was at a lot of their meetings. But I'm like, I already have a face doing something within the association. You take that spot because this is your dream. And then they were active, I want to say, for 2.5 years, maybe 3. And now like that too, that if someone wants to take up that mantle, like that's ready for the new blood and the new generation. So like a lot of the special interest groups got strength, found the people that wanted to be involved, participants and leaders from the retreats. That's literally where they were birthed, because everyone came together. They found what are the challenges we're facing? How do we solve them? Let's do this. And they did it. I can talk about retreats all day. Like, we haven't even talked about the after parties. And I know it sounds crazy, but even in that, like I'll tell you, like we mentioned when we talked before, that this is going to sound very biased because I'm from West Michigan and in Michigan and part of Detroit. But the dance party we had at the Grand Rapids retreat in 2015, I will never forget. I think everyone, we danced to like, it was an 80s retro dance night. And I knew they threw in some 90s, all right? But I think we danced 3-4 hours straight. And it was so much fun. And nobody was, acting crazy, or there were no fights. We just were adults having fun. And I'll tell you what, I woke up the next morning sore. I was so confused. I'm like, all we did was dance. Like, I could barely move. And I have to mention, it was an excuse and a reason to travel, and most chapters sent their people and paid for it. You know how good that feels when someone appreciates you and says, we're going to take care of your hotel and your airfare. Go do this and then bring something back for us. Yeah. Like, that's an incentive. And I'm going to be too honest. When I became president, I looked for people on my board that there was one person in particular, I'm not going to name names, but I could see them starting to burn out. And this was after the pandemic. I'm like, you know what? I have this power and this platform and this authority now. You are coming with me to this trip to DC. And I'm like, and I'm going to be really honest, because of I can see what's happening with you right now in your career. And this is what you asked for, and this is what you're going to get. And you can blame me for calling favorites. Do whatever you want. It's already done. Because in leadership positions, you can help empower and bring refreshment to your community. So
100%.
Well put.
Yeah.
I want to ask if we can squeeze this in. Just one memory of an after party that still resonates with you. Just one. We talked a lot about programming. Let's talk about after programming.
The Grand Rapids one just really stuck with me. And just even getting there, I'm originally from Kentucky, so like I was raised in a blue collar family, and Grand Rapids was blue collar. Like it was like, oh, I am home. Like we went bowling. That was awesome. We like the dance party. I woke up the next day. I was like, why do I hurt? I was like, oh my gosh, like I love 80s music, and then I was born in the 80s, or like 70s actually, but it was like non-stop. And like I would say like that one was probably the most memorable because and then like and that wasn't even the last night, the dance party. Like the next night was the last night, and that's when we were in the lobby of the hotel and we built something so high that the staff actually stopped us. Because we actually reached the balcony with the pyramid.
Oh, really?
Yeah, it was that high. Like, so that for me, like that was the tallest pyramid I have ever seen.
Do you remember how many tiers it was?
I know, but the balcony was at least like 12 to 13 feet high.
I'm gonna say higher. That's
Higher, probably.
That's old architecture.
Yeah. So like maybe 15 plus. Like, so whatever, like people on hands and knees stacked up to there. That's how deep it was.
Wow. Wow.
And that was a night no one went to sleep, like, because everyone's catching a flight first thing in the morning. So yeah, that was it.
I think Grand Rapids was the first time I did the 6 a.m. Club. And I'm like, we are acting like teenagers. There's like 30 adults in the end, both are real. All trying to find something to do and talk about just so we could be a part of the 6 a.m. club. No sleep till 6 a.m. Insanity, but so much fun. Oh, wait. That was the last night. So people were leaving because they had to catch a flight.
Right.
Yeah.
Raleigh, I saw people dancing on tables. It is what it is because it happened. I think that was like the second after party. Because, you had the sponsored corporate one. We're in a beautiful gallery or museum, and there's the DJ and food. Yum.
The official one.
And then the unofficial, after you have more food, like, all right. Baltimore was important to me because that's when I was a part of the new Detroit chapter. And so it was the time of team building. And we got an exclusive VIP room at some Peruvian restaurant because our president was a foodie. So she researched all the food places in Baltimore. She goes, this is where we're going. Like, she had that planned out. And I'm so thankful for that because we had like exquisite meals that I never dreamed of. And like, who goes to Baltimore for Peruvian food in a VPI room? And then we had extra seats and we saw some smaller chapters that didn't have any plans. Like, come on. Like at the retreat, the mentality is you can just quickly say, no, you're with us. Let's go. And people are going, and it was so great for all of us. So just that time of dinner and eating with people, the conference center hotel was across the street or 5 minutes from like this huge mall. I also went shopping. I'm like, yeah, I can do this. Baltimore is good. I got me some shoes. Yeah.
Thank you so much for inviting us to your guys' table.
Thank you, guys.
I will say, yes, you are the OG, like, community builders, the ones who are also cornerstones in the community that I know of. So thank you again for being on the podcast.
Yeah.
Appreciate that.
Thank you for the invitation and open invitation. Please, if you're a chapter leader of any sort, I'm happy to like do a one-on-one and chat if you want to work on building up your chapter and community. I know AIGA is struggling a bit and the chapters are struggling, but it takes a community to make this all happen. So
Oh, I was just gonna say, yeah, I'm open if anyone wants to reach out to me as well.
I'm gonna set up for 2026 the Oen and Carlos dynamic duo speech tour.
Yeah.
Perfect.
Yeah.
Come to see out.
Hey, I would love to.
Yeah.
Cheers and Tears will be back next time with more design leadership tales retold.
Please subscribe, rate, review, and share this podcast with your creative community, design leaders, and friends.
Cheers and Tears Design Leadership Tales Were Told is a production of Chapter 2 and hosted by us, Rachel Elnar and Eric Cargill. This episode was produced and edited by Rachel Elnar. Podcast graphics by Eric Cargill. Animation by Verso Design and Megato Design.
The theme music track is Loose Ends by Silver Ships Plastic Oceans. Follow Cheers and Tears on Apple, Spotify, or YouTube podcasts, or wherever you get your audio and video podcasts. Subscribe to our email list at cheersandtears.com so you don't miss an episode.